Hi, I'm Ryan Ptacek. I am not number 80, and this is Ohio Sports Net.
My name is Ryan Tajek. I'm number 3. I play wide receiver and safety. Not really a fun fact, but just a funny joke. Kyle Gooden right here, the man with the camera. He reminds me of Peter Griffin because he wears the same outfit every single day. And the coaches for making me a great player, and I love playing in front of all you guys.
It means a lot, especially growing up, just going pretty much to every single game. Coming here, I looked up to probably almost every single player that would go through Avon, just wanting to be them, play like them. So I mean, it means a lot to, be a Avon Eagle, especially a senior now. I mean, it flies by. So if you're watching this and you're younger, enjoy it because you'll be a senior in 2 seconds and it's gone. But I'm really excited for this year, and I mean, being an Avon Eagle is unlike any other high school. So I mean, you have to cherish that, your coaches, especially Coach Elder, and just have a great time.
What is it you need to cherish?
Your teammates, that's probably the biggest thing I cherish. I love all my teammates, no matter if it's someone that I really don't even talk to or if it's one of my best friends. Everyone on the team, it's the best bond I've had, growing up in high school, is definitely the team. I mean, it's 120 kids that all get along. So, I mean, it's easily the best bond. I mean, and the bond with your coaches too. You're really close with all your coaches, all like 25 of them that we have. So I mean, cherish mostly that. It's probably the biggest thing to cherish.
How about this year elected as a captain as a senior? What does that mean?
Let's have our existing captains stand up. You guys come on out here. Come on out here.
It meant a lot for the entire team to vote me in as a captain. Especially right after the season, that meant a lot. That meant a lot for me, and it also gave me a little bit of a, push to be like, all right, let's work a little harder too, definitely to get better for the season. It says like, hey, like you have to be one of the guys, you have to step up, you have to perform, you have to lead this team. So I mean, it definitely gives you that sense of like, hey, like, you have to be the man.
You guys do some crazy things. You get up and lift at 5:45. You have the two-a-days. You have all the things in the community. What motivates you to show up every day?
Honestly, I like to lift, so I don't really have a problem with it. In the beginning, it's the teammates. I mean, everyone else is going. If you're not there, the rest of the team's there. You look like the outcast. You look like the person who's slacking off. But I mean, honestly, at this point, I really like to lift, so I'll wake up fine. That's fine by me. But it's easy. It's your teammates, it's your coaches. It's wanting to get better. It's wanting to have a good season. It's wanting to continue losing the last game of the season or getting to the state championship. Because I mean, if you want to get to a state championship, you have to look like you can get there first. I mean, you get to face teams like Hoban and Masson, who their corners are 205 pounds. So you have to take the weight room seriously, or you're going to get bullied once you get to those games where it matters the most.
Who's one of your teammates maybe that doesn't get the notoriety that you think stands out? Like every day you see them, you're just like, wow.
Michael Terzus. He's a great player. I mean, he gained a lot of weight. He gained a lot of weight just so he could get better and play center, the center position this year. And he really stepped up. I mean, he leads all those linemen. I mean, if there's one person that gets all of them in check, it's him. That's a big position group to get in check. There's just one person too, because you need to have a strong offensive line. And the offensive line's hard, so definitely some of those kids are, like, come on, like I don't really want to do this today. I don't want to wake up today. But he leads them well, and he also worked his ass off to get a lot better this year. So I'd say Mike.
What's your expectations for the team this year?
I think we'll be pretty good. I think we have a really fast team. I'd say we probably have the fastest team in the past couple of years for sure. I don't think that we've had a team this fast. Obviously, I don't think we're going to lose any games. If you think you're going to lose, I mean, you probably aren't the best person to be leading the team. I don't think we'll lose. I think once we get things put together pretty well, we're getting into when the practices start to come every day and you got to start working harder and harder. I feel like once we get into that groove, once we reach the peak of the mountain, as Coach Elder was saying, I think our team's will be really good.
How much advantage do you think you have being a 4-year varsity player?
Pretty good. Some kids are struggling to learn some of the plays, and especially on defense, it's always been a little harder at safety. You got to know everything. You got to know what everyone else is doing. I didn't start getting defensive plays till like probably last year. I started understanding the full concept, and now it's like my 4th year. I go out there and I pretty much know what I'm doing at all times, and it's been a huge help, that aspect of the game. I'm probably a little more physical than most people, who this is their fourth year, because some people will be their first year playing. That might be seniors or juniors or something like that. I mean, I got my ass kicked as a freshman, sophomore, but I needed that. You know, you need that to have those last 2 good years. So I mean, it was a big advantage. Definitely more of the schematic-wise, though, just to get everything down.
I think that Ryan Ptacek is a selfless player. He's been with this program for 4 years now. He played a little bit as a freshman, and now he's been a 3-year starter for us. He has a role on the offensive side and defensive side, and you know, he accepts his role with what we need him to do that week. Week 1, he was a primary defensive player. Week 2, he's going to be a primary defensive player, but as the season goes on, his role might change a little bit, and I know for a fact that he's just going to put his head down, and he's going to get to work, and he's going to do whatever the team needs him to do.
How much of an advantage is it that he's a 4-year varsity player?
Defensively, it's huge for us. We have 7 or 8 returning starters, him having probably the most experience on the defensive side of the ball. He's the captain of the secondary. He's making checks for both sides of the field. He's getting everyone lined up. He's very versatile. He can play both boundary safety and field safety, which is more, you know, of a coverage guy versus a linebacker guy. He can do it all in the back end. Whereas some of our younger guys are specialized. They only play half the field. Ryan plays both, and he allows other guys to play in their role. He's a leader out there on the defensive side of the ball, and he's a big part of our defense this year.
What's he like off the field?
Great sense of humor. I can relate to him very well. I know his teammates like him. He's just fun to be around, and I know his friends have fun around him, and he just likes being out here, hanging out with the guys and playing football on the side. I think that's kind of, you know, his mentality out here.
Does it help that he's like a lineage, his whole family, cousins, and everybody, you know, is all part of the team?
I know, you know, Michael was very successful, you know, his cousin, and Tajek carries a lot of weight with that name, so people kind of know who he is. He's got a target, and he performs to the level of the name, and I'm proud of him for that, and you know, he doesn't let that affect him. He just goes out there and plays ball, and that's all he cares about.
The challenge to Ryan in this offseason was to make sure not only did he make himself better, but that he spend time on his teammates and becoming a great teammate in doing that. So when that challenge was issued to him, he responded, and he did a remarkable job for us in terms of leading his team. I was very critical of Ryan, probably down at Mount Union. I didn't think he was giving great effort. And the truth was, maybe that was unfair because he was recovering from an injury, so he wasn't 100%. But when I got on his case and got after him about effort, he was quick to look at me and say, you know what, I got to lead, I got to do this. And he understands how important it is as if he's a leader to do that. So he could have pushed back and said, hey, coach, I'm not 100%. Instead, he just said, you're right, we got to get better. And if our team wants to establish their goals, then I'm going to need as a leader to give more effort and to step up. And he's done exactly that. You know, I can't say enough good things about him. As a safety, he's a tremendous player. He plays downhill and makes a lot of great plays in the run game. He's also athletic enough to go out and get it as a coverage guy. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you know, when we put him in, we want to target him because he's potentially going to make explosive plays. In Avon, we talk about how I watch sometimes our 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, especially freshman year, our freshmen not have as much success as they maybe do by the time they're juniors and seniors, and some people don't understand why. Our freshman coaches do a really good job of getting our players ready to play and developing them and teaching them the Avon way. But we develop our players a great deal. So if God gives you the ability to be average, you're going to play above average because we're going to develop you. If God gives you the ability to be an above average player, you're going to be an all-Ohio type player. Our guys all overachieve, and he's one of those guys who didn't have to work himself into a good player. He was born a good football player. He's worked himself into being an outstanding football player. He's blessed with some tremendous athletic ability. He's long, he runs well, and he's very explosive.
Just a monster. Just a monster. Like, in freshman, he doesn't even look that big. But he looks huge right now.